No rain, no river, no pipes, no store within 100 miles. The temperature is 42 degrees. You have 2 empty plastic bottles and a piece of plastic wrap you found blowing across the sand. And somehow, in 4 hours, you will have clean drinking water. Not dirty water, not filtered water. Water pulled from thin air using nothing but the sun. How is that possible? It's called a solar still. A hole in the ground, a piece of plastic, a container, 0 electricity, 0 chemicals, 0 cost. The sun does everything. People have used this method to survive in places where survival is supposed to be impossible. The Atacama Desert, the Sahara, the Australian outback. And it works every single time. This isn't a survival gimmick. This is physics. And it's been hiding in plain sight your entire life. This isn't fringe knowledge. This isn't a YouTube experiment. The United States Army Survival Manual has included the solar still for decades, page after page, step by step, because soldiers die in deserts, and this method saves lives. NASA engineers studied solar distillation in the 1960s as a backup water source for spacecraft. They didn't reject it. They refined it. The United Nations has funded solar distillation projects in sub-Saharan Africa and parts of rural India, communities where clean water infrastructure doesn't exist, and yet people are drinking purified water, using little more than plastic sheeting and sunlight. In Chile, engineers in the Atacama, the driest non-polar desert on Earth, have built solar stills that produce liters of water daily from soil that looks completely dead. This works. It's been proven. The question isn't whether it works. The question is why you've never been taught this. Think about this for a second. The global bottled water industry is worth over $300 billion a year. Water, a substance that covers 71% of this planet, sold back to you in plastic. Now imagine if every school child was taught that you can pull clean water from the earth using sunlight and a piece of plastic wrap. Not profitable, not scalable, not sold in aisles. So it gets buried in army manuals, in engineering papers, in survival courses that most people never take. This knowledge works too well for anyone to make money from it. And knowledge that can't be monetized has a way of disappearing from the mainstream. They stopped teaching this. Not because it stopped working, because it never needed to be sold. You've seen this process your whole life. You just didn't recognize it. Ever walk barefoot on grass in the morning? That water didn't fall from the sky overnight. The air deposited it. Temperature changed, moisture collected, water appeared. Ever take a cold glass out on a hot day and watch droplets form on the outside? That's the same principle. Warm moisture in the air, hitting a cold surface, becoming liquid. The solar still doesn't invent anything. It just borrows what nature already does and traps it. You've been watching this happen your entire life, without realizing you were watching a survival tool. Here's the science in plain language. No jargon. No chemistry degree required. The ground holds moisture. Even desert soil that looks completely dead still has water locked inside it, trapped between particles deep in the earth. You can't drink it down there, but you can get it out. When you cover a patch of damp soil with a clear plastic sheet and seal the edges, the sun heats the air underneath. That warm air starts to pull moisture out of the ground, exactly like steam rising from a pot. But that steam can't escape. It hits the cooler underside of the plastic and turns back into water droplets. Then those droplets run down the angle of the sheet and drip into your collection container at the center. Sun in, water out, no moving parts, no filters, no power source, just heat, plastic, and physics doing what physics does. Here's exactly how to build one. You need 4 things: a shovel or anything you can dig with, a plastic sheet, a large garbage bag works. Clear is better than black, a container, a cup, a pot, anything that holds water, and a small rock. Dig a hole about 3 feet wide and 2 feet deep. Go wider if you want more output. The wider the surface area, the more moisture you capture. Look for slightly darker soil. It holds more moisture. Dry riverbeds and the base of rocky outcrops. Those are your ideal spots. Place your collection container at the lowest point of the hole, the very center. If you have tubing, run one end into the container so you can sip without dismantling the still. Lay the plastic sheet over the hole. Seal all 4 edges tightly with dirt and rocks. No air gaps. The seal is everything. If air escapes, your moisture escapes with it. Place a small rock at the center of the plastic. directly above your container. This creates a low point, a gentle cone shape. Condensation runs down to the tip and drips straight into the cup below. Then wait 4 to 6 hours in strong sunlight. Peak output hits in the early afternoon when solar intensity is highest. A well-built still in moist soil can produce up to a liter of water per day. That's it. No purchase required. No instruction manual. Just physics and patience. Now here's what most people get wrong. Using black plastic instead of clear. Black absorbs heat. It won't let sunlight through to warm the soil below. Clear plastic is a conductor here. Crystal clear, if you can find it. A bad edge seal kills the whole process. Moisture escapes through any gap. Pack the edges tight with soil and pile rocks on top. Spend more time on the seal than on anything else. Digging in dry, bright sand far from any shade or rock formation. That's another mistake. Shade means temperature variation, and moisture clings near rock, not on open flat sand. Dig in spots that look like they have history. Animal tracks, plant roots, shadowed soil. And people check it 2 hours and see nothing. The still needs time to heat the soil layer, start evaporation, and build condensation. 4 to 6 hours minimum. If you can leave it overnight and collect in the morning, even better. A single solar still in average conditions will produce roughly half a liter to a full liter per day. In a true survival situation, you need about 2 liters a day to function. Build 2 stills. Build 3. Communities in rural Morocco have built solar still arrays, dozens of units covering hillsides, producing enough clean water for entire families from soil that hasn't seen rainfall in months. Engineers in India have adapted the principle to large greenhouse-style structures, producing hundreds of liters daily, using only solar energy and locally available materials. You can also supercharge your still. Add fresh plant material, cactus pads, leaves, any vegetation, into the hole before sealing. Plants are full of water. The heat will pull it out. You can double your output just by adding plant matter you'd otherwise ignore. 1 still is survival. 10 stills is a water supply. Now the obvious question, is this water safe to drink? Yes, and here's why. The solar still doesn't just collect water. It distills it. The evaporation process leaves behind bacteria, salt, and contaminants in the soil. What condenses onto plastic and drips into your cup is essentially distilled water. The same principle is used in industrial desalination, turning salt water into drinking water. Your plastic sheet is a low-tech version of a multi-million-dollar plant. This knowledge isn't new. We just forgot it. Ancient desert civilizations across the Arabian Peninsula and North Africa developed rudimentary versions of this principle thousands of years ago. Stone structures called condensation traps, designed to collect moisture from temperature changes between night and day. The Nabateans, who built Petra in Jordan, engineered entire water collection systems in one of the driest regions on Earth. They understood what took Western engineers centuries to rediscover. Moisture is everywhere. You just have to know how to trap it. In the Andes, indigenous communities have used fog catchers, mesh nets strung across hillsides, to collect atmospheric moisture for over 1,000 years. The principle is identical to a solar still. Cold surface, warm air, water appears. This isn't primitive. It isn't simple-minded. It's engineering, refined over millennia, abandoned for the convenience of pipes and plastic bottles, and waiting for you to remember it. We have been convinced, somewhere along the way, that survival requires infrastructure, that we need systems, corporations, supply chains, and power grids just to drink clean water. But a piece of plastic in a hole in the ground can do what a billion-dollar desalination plant does. Slower, smaller, but the same. When did we stop teaching this? When did we trade the knowledge of how to exist on this planet for the convenience of paying someone else to exist for us? The knowledge to sustain yourself has always existed. It was engineered into this world, long before we built a single water treatment plant. The question isn't whether you'll ever need it. The question is whether you'll know it. When you do, if this changed the way you see the world around you, if you'll look at a piece of plastic wrap differently tomorrow morning, then this video did its job. Share it with someone who thinks survival only belongs in the movies. Someone who's never thought about where their water actually comes from. There's a whole library of knowledge like this, forgotten, dismissed, quietly waiting. And we're just getting started